Hi, this is Chico Resch. You are listening to the Let's Go Devils podcast on the Primetime Radio Network.
Happy Devils Thursday. This is Game Day Live, coming to you live from the Primetime Radio Studios here in beautiful New Jersey and Chicago, Illinois, and Newark, New Jersey, where you can see the wonderful fans at American Whiskey before the Devils take on the BJs, the Columbus Blue Jackets, tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern start. I'm your host, Sam Wu, here with Vinnie, Parise at pucksandpitchforks.com, streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter Live, and Twitch on the Let's Go Devils Network. And hello, Peyton. Hello, everybody at American Whiskey. Hello to everybody on the YouTube Live. Anthony LaPena is back in the YouTube Live. Facebook Live, hello. Twitter Live, hello. Vinny, this could be a beatdown tonight. I'm feeling it.
Yeah, the Columbus Blue Jackets, they're not good. And they're like one of the worst teams I've ever seen. They're not quite as bad as like the 48-point Avalanche team from a couple years ago. They ended up with, Cale Makar and whatnot. But like, I don't know. I think they're a really bad team, but they've played well in certain situations this season. And the Devils, if they treat it like they're playing the Rangers or like they're playing the Bruins, I think they have a chance to smoke them. And I know I've heard trap game. Listen, the Devils went down 2-1 to the Blackhawks on the road, but that team is so bad that the Devils were able to like figure it out and then, finally start piling it on. If they stick with their game against the Columbus Blue Jackets here tonight, I think there could be a very similar result.
Yeah, and you know what? This is a game that we kind of pointed to last offseason, when Johnny Gaudreau ghosted the New Jersey Devils and Tom Fitzgerald had to react, go to his plan B. And at the time of that ghosting, it was kind of, what is Columbus doing? Did the Devils take 2 steps back? That at the time, the biggest free agent prize took a detour after starting the negotiations with Tom Fitzgerald to Columbus. Now, we were not happy back then, and it just turned out that it may have been the best move that Tom Fitzgerald didn't make beyond his control, because I'm very happy with Palat and the trade for John Marino that came right after that.
Yeah, I am too. And Andre Palat will be big in the playoffs. Now, Johnny Gaudreau has 75 points on that atrocious Columbus Blue Jackets team. He'd probably be in the high 80s, low 90s, maybe even leading the team in scoring if he were on this awesome Devils team and had power play time with Hischier and Hughes the way, that we thought he would when it sounded like he was going to sign with the Devils. I do think, though, and I don't know if you agree with this or not, but I think Timo Meier is a better fit for the Devils too. And I'll tell you why. I think Gaudreau's probably a better player, but they have like that shifty, offensive-minded, run the half wall on the power play guy in Jack Hughes. And I have no doubt in my mind that that's their guy doing that for a long time. And Jesper Bratt probably is like a mix of Gaudreau and Meier, I would say. He's like a mix of the two players in one. But I don't know. I just think Meier's goal-scoring ability and being like a high-end power forward is something that the Devils needed more than a smaller, shifty playmaking winger like Gaudreau. I like having those types of guys be the centerman, and with Nico Hischier and Jack Hughes down the middle, you added Meier. Tatar's had a really nice year. I love Jesper Bratt, and then you have Dawson Mercer to choose from, Andre Palat, all sorts of different players to throw in the top 6 on one of those wings. I think it's a much better fit than having Johnny Gaudreau. Now, when they missed on Johnny Gaudreau, I didn't know they were going to trade for Timo Meier. I didn't even know how good or bad the Sharks were going to be this season. Didn't know if that would ever be on the table, but I think Meier's shot and his ability to be like that pure goal scorer that the Devils are missing. Meier doesn't collect a lot of assists. He's not known for like making everyone around him better the way Goudreau is. But the Devils have plenty of playmakers like that. I'd rather have the guy that can finish.
Yeah. Whoa. God bless you.
Excuse me.
Wow. Wow. You know what you need? You need a cough button. That's going to be in next year's budget for the Let's Go Devils podcast. A cough button. See, look, I can do this. I didn't necessarily.
I can't stop coughing either. That's the funny thing. It was like
here. I'll manually control your cough button. You can cough right now as I talk and stall so you can cough. Now you're not even coughing, Vinny. All right, then I'll unmute the cough button. Anyway, so yeah, you know what? Look, I sometimes things happen for a reason. Remember when Scott Stevens first came to the New Jersey Devils? He came because of a little tampering of actually, was it tampering or was it just Brendan Shanahan's signing away?
It was the Brendan Shanahan thing, yeah.
It was the other way around, the tampering. And Scott Stevens didn't want to be here. He was one and done. He wanted his kids to be, in a stable environment, one place, raise a family. And, it turned out that Scott Stevens eventually produced Zach Parise because St. Louis did tamper. And that wound up being Zach Parise, which also wound up Vinnie Parise liking the New Jersey Devils. And now he's the co-host of Game Day Live. Anyway, that's not a stretch, but sometimes things happen for a reason. And I think right now with the New Jersey Devils, you got to be happy where they're at compared to where Columbus is. And, if New Jersey, if the Devils continued building on what they did to the Penguins on Tuesday, and taking this game, and of course we're going to be all scoreboard watching the Carolina Hurricanes, that showdown on Saturday, and I'm beating a dead horse when I say this because I know Max is going to be there. Max of the YouTube Live, he's going to be there. He spent, $240 per ticket to be there, nosebleeds of Boston Garden. Sorry, what is it, TD Bank? Is that what it is?
TD Garden, yep.
Yeah,
TD Garden.
Yeah, I'm still back in the, the Seabass days of Cam Neely. And I think the Devils can really pull within one tonight. And then that Saturday, I think Carolina has the matinee game. And then if something happens there, all eyes are in Boston. I mean, that's a great test for this young team. The division on the line, and hopefully they're in position, division on the line, and you're playing one of the best teams historically in the regular season.
Yeah, there's no doubt that's going to end up being a huge game. It's on ESPN for a reason. It's part of their triple header. It's the primetime game of their triple header. So I think it has a chance to be huge. It'll be interesting to me to see how Boston handles the end of their season because of the fact that they do have the greatest season ever in their grasp. I don't know if they need to win 3 of their last 4 or 4 of their last 4, but I think their game against the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight is going to determine a lot for how they dress their players against the Devils. But I do think the Devils at full strength can give the Bruins an effort, and they did the last 2 times they played, but the Bruins made that extra play, and Pastrnak scored that extra goal. So, and, you can't let guys like McAvoy or, whoever they have on the back end that day walk around you kind of like they did a couple times against the Devils. But a lot has changed for both teams since then. And I don't know. I'm very much looking forward to that game. But I can't stress enough how worrying about that game right now, if you're the players on this Devils team, it can help you lose a game to the lowly Columbus Blue Jackets, and that just can't happen if you're the Devils trying to win the Metropolitan Division here with 4 games left. If they don't beat the Blue Jackets tonight, I'll have no hope for the division, and it'll kind of put a damper on my thoughts on them going into the playoffs, if we're being honest with you, because this Blue Jackets team is bad. They're really, really bad.
Yeah.
So they have to go in and win this game, I think.
They can't sleepwalk. There's no time to sleepwalk. Is Nathan Bastian in the lineup? He's the good luck charm now?
I believe he is. Now, the problem is Siegenthaler's not playing. I don't know if it's because of injury, performance, or simply rest. There could be all sorts of reasons why Siegenthaler isn't playing, but Smith is in and he's not. Wrecking Ball stays on the top line with Doug. Graves and Marino stays together, and then Smith and Severson are the third pair. Vanacek in net. It does not look like Nathan Bastian is in the lineup. I don't know if it's because they're playing against the Columbus Blue Jackets and they could put Utica out there and have a chance to win. Not literally, but I mean, I don't know. I don't really know. Eric Hall is in though, and I guess that was in question.
Yeah,
But Sharon Govich in, Bastian out. It's crazy because Sharon Govich was really, really good in their loss to Winnipeg. Like, he was one of the few players that like actually had a decent game. And then they scratch him of all people against the Penguins.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, Miles Wood makes the most money out of all the like fringe guys, so it's hard to bench him. I understand the logic behind that. I understand why that's a thing. But like, honestly, both Bastian and Sharon Govich deserve to play over Miles Wood right now. And I'm not a Miles Wood hater by any means. If anything, I've been more of a Miles Wood apologist through the years. But I'm all for playing the best 12. And right now, both Bastian and Sharon Govich appear to be part of the best 12.
Yeah, well, you know something, Vinny? In the regular season, even this late, I can understand. But when it comes to the playoffs, Lindy Ruff has got to play the best player. That's at that moment. He has to. And also match up well, against the opposing team. So, I think right now, I think Lindy's pushing all the right buttons. I'm very biased because I've been pro Lindy from day one. But, I think I think he's going to take this team pretty far into the playoffs. And I think right now, you got to take care of business. Get that momentum. Let it snowball, and this is game 78, Vinny. This is game 78. Also, tickets were on sale for there was a pre-sale, I think, on Ticketmaster.com. Am I right on that? Because I was looking at ticket prices before.
For the playoffs?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're on sale for sure.
$225 per ticket.
It's a lot.
That's a lot for first round. I remember the first round back in 2006. It was just $15.
I mean, that is a lot because the Devils are considered a small market team, even though in the NHL, when there's a salary cap and every team's the same kind of market, if you think about it.
It's game 79?
79, 80, 81. Yeah, I guess it would be game 79. They got 78 in the book. Whoops. I went to a Blackhawks first round game a couple years ago when they were playing Nashville, and they had 3 cups under their belt. They were in their prime. It wasn't even 200 something bucks. So I'm honestly a little surprised to hear that they're that expensive.
Well, thanks, Max, for the correction. Unfortunately, I can't change the graphics, and all that kind of stuff, or the copy that goes out on the social media pages. But
I believe it's Nico Heischer's 78th game, and I actually wanted to touch on this really quick with you before we move into predictions or whatever it is. Luke Hughes, whatever. Heischer has 75 points, and I really want him to get to 80. Sam, I really think he has a chance to win the Selke Trophy. Mm-hmm. And if he reaches that 80, like 80 looks better than 79 for whatever reason. The human brain works that way. That's why marketers make something 99, 95 instead of making it $100. It just looks better to have it be 80 instead of 79, even though it really makes no difference on how good or bad Heischer's played this season. And he's got 75 with 4 games left. They're playing this lowly Blue Jackets team tonight. If he could have a big game in this one, I'm talking like 2 or 3 points, then he could just get 1 point, the rest of the way, or 1 point here, 2 points there. I really think he has a chance to hit this 80-point plateau, and I would love to see a big game against the Blue Jackets tonight really help him get there.
Yeah, I mean, it does have a psychological impact. Wasn't Mario Lemieux that had, 199 points in one season?
Yeah, Mario Lemieux. Johnny Gaudreau had a 99-point season, his breakout year. And then the Nathan McKinnon, He had a 99-point year too. The year Taylor Hall won the MVP. I know Nate came a point short of 100, and that might have won Taylor Hall the MVP. Like if
Yeah.
Nate got to 100, there's a chance, because I remember that Hart Trophy race was so close. It was so close between Nathan McKinnon and Taylor Hall. Like the votes were almost split even, and Hall barely edged him out. If the Nate dog hits 100 that year, I don't know. I honestly believe that. I honestly believe that.
Yeah. And again, but then again, I'm not a numbers guy either. Like I've learned over the years, it used to bother me. The OCD used to bother me. Like if you got like 98 points or 99, or, you know, I'm trying to think of another stat that really bothers me. Or
I know what you mean, but I do think like people look at a million per 10 points, right? And so he sure lived up to his contract this season, according to that like mantra, a million per 10 points. But if he gets to 80 now, and like you know how good he is as a two-way player, he's one of the best bargains in the NHL.
Yeah.
And you know, when I think of like a 60-point guy is like just a really good player, like an above average player, the Dawson Mercers, the Tomas Tatars, like just the above average guys. Then when you start hitting 70, you're like, okay, this is an above average borderline all-star player. Nico Hischier, Jesper Bratt, Timo Meyer, all these guys throughout their career. When you start hitting 80, that's when you start thinking, make it to the all-star game as a lock. You know, get paid lots of money, be the face of your franchise. We start talking 90 to 100, you're an absolute superstar, face of your team, great player. Nico's not going to hit 90 this year, but I think hitting 80 will be a big step towards him hitting 90 or 100 one day in his career, because I do believe he will hit 100 at least once. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins hit 100, and he's like in year 10 of his career. So I honestly think that's in the cards for Nico as his offense continues to grow. Hitting 80 points will really put him on the map, though. I think I'd rather him hit 80 than Jack hit 100, because I know Jack's going to hit 100 1,000 times in his career. So I don't know. Go Nico.
Yeah, or Marty Brodeur back in the day. I hated it when it was like some of his stats, like he was like save percentage .919.
That's annoying. Absolutely.
Or his goals against is 2.01.
Absolutely. And I do think, Sam, that's when you start getting into the Vezina Trophy range, when your save percentage is above 920. I think the 920 starters, those are the guys that are usually in the Vezina Trophy conversation. If you look at the NHL leading goaltenders right now, Linus Allmark, Igor Shesterkin, all those guys right now, Sorokin, these are the guys, 920. And if you're at 919, I can understand that being like extremely frustrating.
Yeah. And then there was that one year that Brodeur started 78 games, 77, 78 games.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. It's like, can you give him an extra 2? And then, or I think like the last game of the season, he sat one. I think that was like when, I think that was that controversial game where if the Islanders won, they bounced the Rangers out of the playoffs or something like that.
I think the Leafs had something to do with it.
Or maybe that was, it was like.
I want to say the Leafs, because I remember like every time the Devils play the Leafs, Steve Dangle brings it up in one of his reaction videos that I watch. And like he was pissed that they didn't start. I want to say the backup for the Devils back then was not Clemenson. Who was the other one? Was it Scott Clemenson? No. Who was the other backup?
Kevin Weeks?
No, it wasn't Kevin Weeks. It was after Kevin Weeks, I think.
Mark Denis?
I don't remember.
No.
Who was their backup? Who was their backup in 2012 when they made it to the Cup?
Hedberg?
Maybe it was Johan Hedberg. I honestly think it might have been Johan Hedberg. I could be wrong. Maybe it was Clemenson.
I'm thinking of a different year. I'm thinking like 2007. I think it was 2007 because I thought it was at the Meadowlands when Rick DiPietro was starting for the Islanders and the Islanders were trying to get in the playoffs. And what the Devils do, they rest their goaltenders. And who did they bring up? Who did they?
I have to know this. I have to know
Oh,
this
it's
right
bothering me now. It's bothering
it.
that because if that's what Steve Dangle is referring to, get over it. Like seriously, 2007. Oh, it's gonna bother me. Who was? It was. It may
It
have
was
been a third
Clemenson.
stringer.
It was.
Was it?
No, maybe not. I don't know. This is gonna take a second to, I think, find out. You said it was 2007?
Yeah, versus the Islanders. I thought that was it. Let's see here. Let's see, March 27th. Blah blah. I can't believe we're. Yeah, and it ended in a shootout. Yep. That's the game. But who got bounced? I don't remember. Let's see here. Who was in that? I'm looking. Lou Lamoriello was the coach. And it ended in a 3-2 shootout, and the Islanders made the playoffs because I was at that game. Oh, boy. Who was the Devils' goaltender?
This is really funny that we're really on this topic.
Wade Dublowitz, but was he in that? Yeah, and the Leafs, yeah. This is the game that is referring to. Mike Sillinger was on the Islanders. I'll send you the link. Oh, my goodness.
That's funny. Did it keep the Leafs out?
I think so. I think that's the game. Because I remember, I remember back in those days, I remember Canadian fans were just like, but who was in net? See, I can't tell because this is standard definition. I can't even tell who's in net.
That's honestly hilarious. Where we've spent all this time instead of talking about Luke Hughes playing for Michigan in a little bit or making our predictions for the game. That's what we do here.
Yeah, as I'm still watching it and ignoring you because I want to know who. It's hard to tell who's in net, based on the.
Yeah, and there's no articles or anything. Oh wait, I think I might have found it. Devils goalie Martin Brodeur rests against Islanders, doing Leafs no favors. This is from the Hockey News. The New Jersey Devils record-setting goalie sat out on Sunday against the New York Islanders in a game that was to determine the final playoff spot in the Eastern Conference. The Toronto Maple Leafs stayed alive Saturday night with their stirring. It was Clemenson. Yeah, I found it.
That's 2007. You got the year wrong. It's 2007.
Yeah,
2007.
Brodeur could have tied Grant Fuhr's mark for games played in a season, but was content to stay at 78 of 82. That's funny. Yep.
I remember. Yeah,
that's funny. To just assume that Brodeur and the Devils would have beaten the Islanders that day. I mean, can we just assume that? I mean, I know Brodeur and what he did, obviously, but I don't know. To just assume that that's the reason you didn't make the playoffs. Maybe if the Leafs weren't an atrocious franchise for all those years leading up to the Austin Matthews era, that wouldn't have been an issue for them.
Yeah. By the way, people are saying that the feed froze on YouTube Live. That was actually not me. That was actually YouTube. I did nothing wrong.
Oh, YouTube had a problem?
Yeah, YouTube had a problem. Sometimes YouTube has what we call a burp. The server burps, and then it gets back online. So don't look at me. Although I've been having a lot of technical difficulties lately with this podcast in the last week. It's been nuts.
It happens.
Yeah, it happens. All right, let's get to our predictions, Vinny, since we were babbling about 2007. Let's look at it.
I think that the Devils, they're going to have to wait an extra day to get Luke Hughes because he's going to win a natty on Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
That's the prediction there. And then tonight against the Blue Jackets, I think I'll be annoyed if they don't cover the puck line. They have to win by 2 at minimum. And so I think the Devils are going to beat the Blue Jackets 5-1. Go out there and beat the Blue Jackets 5-1. You could beat Pittsburgh that bad. Go do it to the team just down the road in Columbus.
All right, Anthony LaPena says 6-2 Devils. Devils win 7-1, says Dennis. Ramona Rice says 4-2 Devils. A Selected Boy says 5-2 Devils. Lenham says 5-0 Devils. Let's see what else here. Max says 5-2 Devils. Ramona, I'll repeat it again, 4-2 Devils. Steve Engels, 6-2 Devils. 6-3 Devils, says JP. Select the Boys says 5-2 Devils. 9-3 Devils. 9-3 Devils.
Wow. If you're right, Nico Heischer's hitting 100 points this season. He might hit 100 in this game if you're correct. Holy shnikes.
Bajagaloop says 7-0. Who's in goal? I'm assuming it's Mackenzie Blackwood.
No, it's Vitek Vanacek.
Okay. I revised my score from 9-3 Devils to 9-0 Devils.
That's funny. You're not even going to give Hockey or Kent Johnson or any of those guys one goal on Columbus? That's cold.
Nope.
That's cold.
Nope. There's a red wave going on. It's called the New Jersey Devils. Yeah. Wow. Well, they're clearing that at American Whiskey going to the game. Some people are back, I'm sure. Anyway. All right. So, Vinny, last but not least, we'll be at Stagehouse Tavern April 13th. Yeah, in Mount Sinai, New Jersey, for Game Day Live and Devils After Dark. Viewing party. Devils take on the Washington Capitals. Also, Arlette will be entertaining with some good music. Music by Arlette. Stagehouse Tavern. Beautiful Mountainside, New Jersey. Got to put out the graphic out soon. So, well, folks, we'll be back afterwards for Devils After Dark. Also, I'm hearing you tell me that you want the Morning Woo, a morning podcast. Woo! They're making me get up 6 a.m. to talk about random stuff around the league and around New Jersey. Let me know if you like the Morning Woo, if I should do it or not. Till next time, let's go Devils.